What's going on, folks? Gabe here from Item 9, and today we're taking a look at Hogwarts Legacy, the brand new open world RPG set in the magical world of Harry Potter. Now, this game has been developed by the folks at Avalanche Software, and if you're familiar with their work, you may have played some of their previous titles like Disney Infinity. And so it seems to be that these guys are no strangers to licensed IPs, and it definitely shows here. Hogwarts Legacy, it's a game that takes place in the 1800s, so about 100 years set before the events of the books and films, and it allows players to explore the grounds of Hogwarts Castle, take on magical classes, fight against the dark forces of the wizarding world, and even customize their own characters. With so many features in the game, it's definitely proving to be the definitive Harry Potter experience. The game features an original story that sees you as a fifth-year transfer student who's been granted late admittance to the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Now, under the mentorship and tutelage of Professor Fig, he's going to try and help you navigate an ancient secret that's been buried in Hogwarts. And you've been imbued with the power to sense ancient magic. So, while this is going on, there's also a goblin rebellion that's sort of taking place at the same time. And it's basically up to you to sort of save the wizarding world from destruction. And there's a whole colorful cast of characters in here that you're going to be able to meet. And I really did enjoy the presentation of the story. I think it really intertwines itself with some of the lore that we're already familiar with if you're a fan of the franchise. Now, of course, I wanted to touch upon the combat system in Hogwarts Legacy because I found it to be quite engaging and intuitive. It kind of based off a color-coded sort of system, so you're going to have about 26 spells that you can use for combat, I believe, and some of them are going to be different colors from a purple, yellow, red, and I think there are green for the unforgivable curses. Now, with that being said, enemies. There's a little bit of a variation in enemy type. It's not too broad, but again, you're going to be facing spiders, goblin loyalists, dark wizards, and some trolls, as well as a number of other beasts. Now, some dark wizards and goblins will have shields around them, and those shields will have colors, and the only way to disable or break through those shields, for the most part, is to use a spell which color correlates to their shield. So, for example, if a goblin loyalist has a purple shield around them, you can slam them down using Descendo, and then open them up with an attack like Expelliarmus, and you'll be able to throw their weapon back at them. I found this awesome, just mixing up the different combinations of spells, building combos, so that you can also fill your ancient magic meter. Now, your ancient magic meter, once that's full, you'll be able to perform a special AoE attack. Now, aside from casting spells, you'll be able to dodge and parry. Parrying by perfectly timing, pressing the triangle or Y button, or if you're playing on PC, I don't know what they use for that. But doing that will allow you to stupefy an enemy, stunning them, again, leaving them open for more attacks. Now, you can use plants like the mandrake or Chinese chomping cabbages as well to aid you in your battles. And there's also a number of potions. Later on in the game, you'll also unlock a dodging feature called Swift. It gives you sort of this ethereal form that lets you sort of shift around the map or something like that. Very cool. I really liked how it gave a little bit of more mobility to the combat system. With that being said, I think there could be a little bit more room for enemy variation because I found towards the end we're just fighting a lot of the same enemies and it became a little bit boring. Once you get yourself a good stack of spells, it's very easy to feel overpowered towards the end of the game. Potions, there are a number of potions you can use. Maxima potion doubles your attack damage. There's the Eridus potion, which gives you a shield effect. Focus potions make the cooldown on your spells a little bit faster, so you can just essentially spam focus potions if you want and lay down as many Avada Kedavras as your heart desires. And I was pleasantly surprised about how the combat system turned out. My only gripe about it would be the targeting system. Now you can use the right joystick to switch between targets, and you can also press down on R3 to manually select targets. Now sometimes this gets a little bit tricky when there's multiple enemies on screen, but for the most part it's very manageable, and I do think that the combat system here is something to be praised in the overall scope of the game. Now, Hogwarts Legacy has presented us with quite a vast open world. You're not only exploring the grounds of Hogwarts Castle and Hogsmeade Village, but there's also the surrounding area. And Avalanche Software has done a really great job capturing the look and feel of what is to be the Scottish Highlands. You know, there's coastal areas, there's bogs, lots of forests and stuff like that. But these areas are also littered with your run-of-the-mill open-world RPG activities. There's secrets to find, little challenges and trials here and there, things to collect, and for the most part, it's definitely something you can spend hours doing if you'd like. But for me, I really just like to get into those combat scenarios and those enemy situations. So that's where I spent most of my time playing the game, sort of getting through the story as much as I can and getting to those really big action-y set pieces and battles. I really did like that. And again, flying from point A to point B, you're going to be able to use a method of transportation systems here. You have flue flames that can give you the option of fast travel around places that you've already discovered, and you're going to have the option to either use mounted beasts like the hippogriff or the thestral, as well as your broom. Now the broom can be definitely upgraded through challenges, and I believe there's a certain side quest which you're able to do that. But overall, I think that just flying around and getting a look at everything, the atmosphere that these guys have captured and created here is definitely something that fully immerses you into the world of Harry Potter. So I think they've done a really good job there. Now, Hogwarts Legacy wouldn't be a large-scale open-world RPG without a loot system, and let me tell you, there's a lot of loot in this game. It's constantly throwing gear at you, and having to manage it all the time, it becomes a little bit tedious. But the fact that it's there is very cool. So you'll have like legendary, rare, exquisite pieces of gear, and no, I wouldn't say stick to one piece of gear too much, because you're going to be constantly finding better pieces that you'll have to flip throughout the game. Now, later on in the game, when you do unlock the Room of Requirement, you'll be able to upgrade a lot of these pieces that you find through the gathering of magical resources from the beasts that you rescue. So I think that was a cool addition and a really cool feature to have there as well. One thing that I recommend is completing the Merlin Trials. Now, the Merlin Trials are scattered around the open world, and by completing a number of these trials, you'll be able to upgrade your inventory slots. So that was also cool. So I definitely highly recommend that. And also, the fact that you're able to change the appearance of gear that you get, so it kind of all matches, and you don't look like this really odd, out of place person in the school of Hogwarts, is really neat addition. Because there's times when I have like glasses on, a huge hat, and I just look like this guy looks absolutely kooky. And I know that there are some RPG fans out there who absolutely love that part of creating your own character and just making the most obscene character you can possibly find. So that's cool that they have that as well. Now, what really drives it all home for me in Hogwarts Legacy is honestly the design of the Hogwarts Castle, and the fact that it is really an amazing experience when you first pull up to the castle in the opening hours of the game, and you make it to the Great Hall, and you're sitting down for the Sorting Hat ceremony. It really is all very reminiscent of the films, what we've seen on screen and what we've read in the books, which is really cool. And I think that the production artists and the designers and the architects, all the work that they would have had to do for years in pre-production, looking at production notes from the films, and just doing all the work to sort of fully bring this castle to gamers and fans. I know we've seen this in previous iterations, but never to the scale that it is presented here. And I think that it's quite amazing. There's so many things to do in the Hogwarts castle alone. You can spend hours there just uncovering secrets, collecting the notes about some of the different items that are laying around the castle, which is really cool. If you're just there, if you're just picking up this game so you can have the schooling experience of actually going to Hogwarts, it's there. It definitely is. There's a number of classes that you can partake in. Divination, Defense Against the Dark Arts, Herbology, Transfiguration. You'll definitely have to go to all these classes. Some of them required for you to learn certain spells. You'll do a little quick time mini game thing there, and that'll help you progress with certain missions in the story. And for the most part, I really did enjoy a portrayal of a lot of the teachers, the professors that you'll encounter. Professor Ronan is really awesome. Simon Pegg's portrayal of Nigellus Black, the current headmaster of Hogwarts, is really spot on. I definitely enjoyed his presence. I would have liked to see a little bit more of him, but for the most part, I think you can tell the developers here, they tried to make this game as inclusive as possible. You can see that through the many different cast of characters that we have in this game. And I think that's a little refreshing to see, and I definitely understand them trying to take note of the current situation of what's happening and them trying to address it. So I really do appreciate that. I also really did love how you could see the castle, Hogwarts, change between different seasons. When you walk through the Great Hall during autumn or fall, it's decorated in jack-o'-lanterns and pumpkins for Halloween, and during the Christmas holidays, the whole town of Hogsmeade and the whole castle is sort of done up with Christmas trees and tinsel and stuff like that. So very cool with them paying attention to detail there. Another thing that I really wanted to touch on, probably the last thing here, was the sound design. I think spells and all that sound really good. If you watch the movies, I feel like they're taking the sound bites right out of there and putting it into the game. I really like the look and the animations of some of the spell casting as well too. That looks very cool. I think some of the best scenes out of the films are the wand fights, and we get to see this translated over into a game, and I think that looks really awesome. And also the soundtrack, John Williams' iconic score, such a big shoes to fill, and the composer on this game really does a great job at putting their own original spin on things, and also creating very memorable tunes. There's certain missions when the music kicks in and you're just like, yes, this takes me back. So I think that was really a nice touch for them, not just borrowing the music from the films, but also putting their spin on things as well and giving everything a really nice touch. With that being said, I want to wrap things up here because I feel like Hogwarts Legacy, although it's such a really great Harry Potter RPG, I think there's still some things that are gonna be very tedious to veterans of RPGs and whatnot. If you are a fan of the source material and you want to get invested in this world, I highly recommend it. And with that being said, speaking of this, as a fan of the films, I would have to give this game a 9 out of 10 because it really does encapsulate that feeling. But if you're just a regular Joe Schmo, you don't really have any sort of familiarity with the franchise, I still think this is a very good RPG, and it's definitely got a lot of content and a lot of stuff for you to do, and it's got a very decent story as well. So overall, my score for Adam 9 Gaming on Hogwarts Legacy, we're going in with a solid 9 out of 10. And if you like this video, guys, please be sure to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button and check out some of our other reviews. And for Adam 9 Gaming, I'm Gabe Lashley, and we'll see you in the next one.